Okay, students, I'm going to go over some examples for parallel and perpendicular lines. We've talked about this already in class. What two words go with parallel? Same slope. And what two words go with perpendicular? Negative reciprocal or opposite reciprocal. So what do these deal with? They're slopes. It's either the same or it's the negative reciprocal if it's parallel. Okay, line M and point P are shown on the graph below. It says which equation represents the line passing through P in parallel to line M? Parallel, that means I'm looking for the same slope. So first off, I need to recognize what form these lines are written in. They're written in point slope form. So if you weren't taught point slope form in Algebra 1, now you have it and you must memorize it. This is the most popular form when you're given a point and a slope or 2 points. And it's y minus y sub 1 equals m times the quantity x minus x sub 1, where x sub 1 comma y sub 1 is a given point, okay, on the line. M is the slope. M's always slope, no matter what equation, linear equation we're using, M's always the slope. And then x and y are any other point on the line. Any other point on the line. Okay, so you need to know that. Like I said, point slope form, very popular. Those that go on to pre-calculus and calculus, that's the most famous form you're going to be writing equations in is point slope form. So in the New York curriculum here, they would expect you to know it probably from Algebra 1. Again, as I pointed out in class, some Algebra 1 teachers keep it simple and only keep it to slope-intercept form, but you should have learned all three forms in point in us, not only pre-algebra, but algebra 1. So you have slope-intercept form, you have standard form, ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are integers, and a is greater than 0. And point slope form right here, y minus y sub 1 equals m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. So since we're talking about slope, we're looking for that value right here. All that matters is what the slope is, because we want a parallel slope. So that means I have to be able to find the slope of that line. I pick any 2 points that are on the line that meet at corners. Right there. Got to be right at the corner. Remember, slope, you should know from Algebra 1 is change in y over change in x. Y is either up or down, x is left or right, depending if it's positive or negative. So if I'm going from this point up, I'm going positive 2, and then I'm going right 1, so it's positive 1. Up or down is my y, so it's 2 over 1, which equals 2. And I want the same slope, because it's parallel. Parallel means same slope. So I'm looking for slope of 2. Here's a slope of 2. So both of 3 and 4 are gone. If you're doing a GCAS, it's multiple choice. Okay, so you could see it as multiple choice in the GCAS, or they could just have you write the equation in the line. Okay, they may have you write it in slope-intercept form or point slope form. Okay, so you got it's going to be one of those two forms. Rarely do they have you write it in standard form. It's usually either point slope or slope-intercept. Now, once you go through point P, what is point P? 1, 2, 3, negative 2. 3, negative 2. So that's the given point. Remember, x sub 1 comma y sub 1 is my given point. So I fill those into the equation. So I have y minus the y value, which is negative 2, equals m, which is 2, because it's the same slope, times x minus the x value. Well, I have to change a negative times a negative to a positive. So I should be looking for y plus 2 equals 2 times the quantity x minus 3. And there's my answer. Okay. Now, if it's multiple choice, you could also just plug in that point. 3, negative 2 into here, 3, -2. Okay, and it should end up coming out to be equal 6 minus 6 is 0, and 0, -2 plus 2 is 0. Okay, but there's my equation. Okay, next one over here. Let's move this over here. Okay, given segment MN shown below with -6, M is -6, 1, N is 3, -5. Again, of course, if you can't name points correctly, if they weren't given to you like this, you're in trouble. That's from 6th grade math onward. What's the equation line that passes the point and is parallel? So it's the same type of problem again. I need to find the slope of this segment. And it's parallel, so same slope. I'm just going to write same slope. And they give me through this point. So I'm going to put it in point slope form. Now notice this time, it gives me the equation in slope intercept form. So I'm going to start with point slope form and then change it to slope intercept form. Just to show you. Okay, because again, it may not be multiple choice. What I can do as multiple choice is I could just find this slope. It's got to be the same. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So changing y over changing x, the slope is -2/3. Got to reduce your slope always, which is why you see them as -2/3 here. So again, it's 1 or 2. These two are gone. Okay, and if it's just multiple choice, I could just plug in the point now, 6, -6, and 1, and see which one works. Only one of those is going to work at -6 for the x and 1 for the y. But we're going to pretend like we'd have to come up with it on our own. So I have y, what's it, going through the point 6, 1. So through 6, 1. Positive 6, positive 1, yes. Okay, that's positive. I'll just get rid of it and put a 1. All right, so y minus y value 1 equals the slope, -2/3 times x minus 6. Okay, I can go ahead and distribute the -2/3 through there, so -2/3 x. The 3 cancels with the -6. -2 times the -2 is +4, and then I'm adding the 1 across. So y equals -2/3 x plus 5. Okay, and so where is that? -2/3 x plus 5, number 1. Okay, and I could, like I said, I could have gone ahead and just plugged in 6 right here and 1 right there and see if it was true. 6 divided by 3 is 2, times -2 is -4, plus 5 is 1, and it would work there. So you can do that if it's multiple choice, but if you have to write the equation yourself, we want to show our work. Okay, and that's what you'd have to show right there. Right, number 3, which equation represents a line parallel to the line whose equation is? Notice this is almost in standard form, except for a is not positive, otherwise it is in standard form. So we need to solve for y first. Okay, so 3y equals, I'm just adding the 2x across, minus 4, this is all pre-algebra. Divide by 3 on each term, know your vocab. So 2/3 x minus 4/3. We want it to be parallel, so it's the same slope. So there's my slope. Parallel slope equals 2/3. Okay, so it wipes out that one and wipes out that one. So I'm down to either here or here. And I want it going through 1, 3. So it should be y minus 3. Oh, that says y plus 3, so I'm done. Oh, it's got to be y minus 3 and also x minus 1, which is that one right there. Okay. Again, I could write y minus 3 equals the slope 2/3 times the quantity x minus the x coordinate, which is 1. Okay, and that is that one right there. All right, Now we'll go a little quicker. Okay, let's stick that up there. Okay. What's the slope of the line perpendicular now? Remember perpendicular, negative reciprocal. So we just did parallel ones. We want the negative reciprocal. Remember, look for slope. Parallel slope is 3 over 1. It writes a fraction. The perpendicular slope is the negative reciprocal. So negative 1/3 right there. What's the slope of the line perpendicular again? So we solve for y. Subtract the 2x across and divide each term by 4. So y equals negative 1/2 x plus 3. There's the parallel slope. I want the perpendicular, so it's a negative reciprocal, which is then 2. Slope of line perpendicular again. I just look right here. What's the negative reciprocal of negative 2/3? Positive 3/2. Right there. What's the slope of the line perpendicular? Again, negative reciprocal. I got to solve for y first. I'm going to add the 2y across. Why? Because it's negative. I don't want to have to divide by negative, so I'm going to add it across and then subtract the 6 across. You got to be smart. Make it easier for yourself. And then divide by 2. On each term, so 10x minus 3 equals y. Okay, so the slope is 10. What's the negative reciprocal? Negative 1/10. That's a negative sign if you can't tell right there. Negative 1/10. Here's the positive over there. Okay, what's the slope line perpendicular again? Got to make sure I solve for y, so I'm dividing by 2 on each term. So y equals negative 3x plus 4. There's my slope. What's negative 3 over 1? So what's the perpendicular slope? The negative reciprocal, 1/3, which is right there. Perpendicular again, I need to solve for y. Since y is negative right now, I'm going to add it across. So I have 3x plus 14 equals 7y. Divide by 7 on each term. Oops, by 7. So my slope is 3/7. Perpendicular is negative reciprocal, so I want negative 7/3. Okay, again, I want perpendicular. So you can see you're practicing slopes a lot right here. You need to have this down pat. Again, I'm solving for y, so I'm subtracting, and since y is positive, I'm going to leave it on the left side. Subtract the 2x across. Divide by 3. It's just giving it to you in different forms. So y, there's my slope, is negative 2/3. Okay, so I want the negative reciprocal. Perpendicular slope is the negative reciprocal, positive 3/2. Okay. Now again, this may or may not be multiple choice. You just have any multiple choice here on your assignment. None of them are multiple choice. You're writing out the equations yourself, so you're practicing it. Okay. Perpendicular again. Solve for y. Y is positive, so leave it there. Subtract the 5x across. Divide by 3. And so the parallel slope is negative 5/3. The perpendicular slope is the negative reciprocal of negative 5/3, which makes it 3/5. Right there. Okay. Let's see. I'm not going to keep going through these. Anything new that we haven't seen yet. All right, let's go down to, these are all perpendicular slopes. Let's go to the last one here. Done enough of those other types above. The slope of QR is this. The slope of ST is 8/3. If they're perpendicular, which means the slopes are negative reciprocals, so negative reciprocal of 8/3 makes it negative 3/8 is the perpendicular slope. So I have to set that equal to the x minus 1 over 4. So x minus 1 over 4 equals negative 3 over 8. Okay. I could cross multiply here, and I'd have 8 times the quantity x minus 1 equals 4. Just multiply it. I'll just make it simple. Negative 12. I could distribute the 8 through there, or I could divide by 8 right away. And so they cancel out, so I get x minus 1 equals negative 1.5. I'll write that over here. X minus 1 equals negative 1.5. That's what negative 12 divided by 8 is. And last step, add the 1 across. So x equals negative 1.5 plus 1 is negative 0.5. That's a 0.5 there. Okay, there's my answer. So that's what you'll do on that. All right, that covers everything you need to know for this assignment.